Welcome back to the Actors Room, everyone. Part two of our Best Supporting Actors slash Actresses in the Actors Room. Episode 46. And Dave is back with me once again, and we're going to highlight the top 20 dramatic supporting roles that we feel really did touch us in ways that we feel they made the movies better. Like I said in the previous episode, they do. So it's fun to just sit here with my brother and talk about these performances because they truly are great and they need to be talked about. And to start it off, our top 20, we're going to go in reverse like we did last time, a countdown. And before we start talking about these actors, is there anything you want to point out before we move any further? Like an opinion about the show and how it's going, or just this episode? Anything you want to point out?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
No.
Like, once in a while, we like to start our episodes with just kind of touching on something, but not doing a specific artist. I find it a little harder because it's so broad out there.
Right.
We have so many people that we're going to talk about. I find myself not having, like, little tidbits of information I kind of want to put in there. So I think we're just going to dive right into it and start off at number 20 and talking about this actor who really did for me in this role of 12 Monkeys. He plays a guy named Jeffrey, and he is all over the place in this movie. Now, did you see this in the theater when it came out?
I did.
So did I.
did.
We might have been watching it together. I'm
no,
not sure.
I think I saw it with Ramsey.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I went and saw this movie when it came out.
Ramsey's a buddy of mine, by the way.
Yeah, he's a real good friend. He lives in New York now, right?
He is in New York.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and I want to go ahead and mention Ramsey actually because
Okay.
he's a big supporter of this show, and I always think
Nice.
to myself, I got to mention him, and I forget. I'm sorry, man. I've always wanted to kind of point you out and give you props. I think he listens to all our episodes.
Awesome.
And will once in a while remark and send me a text and say, it's a really good episode.
That's great.
So shouting out to Ramsey, thank you so much for supporting the show. Tell your friends, tell all your family. We want all of these people to kind of, listen to our show, bump it up in the rankings, whatnot. So thank you so much for listening. Talking about Brad Pitt and 12 Monkeys, you saw in the theater too. I was blown away by that performance.
I'm not sure how much I thought of Brad Pitt before this.
Thelma
performance.
Louise, he did some silly stuff.
I mean, I barely remembered that role.
Yeah.
But like, I can't remember exactly what he did before this, but I was blown away by his performance.
Yeah, so was I.
He was all over the place.
Like I said, he was.
The note I have here is that the director, Terry
Gilliam.
he took away his cigarettes.
I have that too.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt loves to smoke.
He's a chain smoker.
Yeah, he does. He enjoys his cigarettes. So, in the way that the director, he wanted to have him on edge, right?
And he was.
He took away his cigarettes, that nicotine.
Dude, I would fucking kill
Now,
somebody.
do you think he took the cigarettes away for the whole production?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
That's crazy if he did. Because I'm sure Brad was sneaking some in behind the
he
set.
He probably limited
Okay.
his intake of nicotine, which is enough, man.
Yeah.
I know for me, after about 4 hours, I start getting edgy.
You do. You start
Maybe
to kind
not
of...
to the point of Brad Pitt and 12 Monkeys, but I start getting like, antsy.
Yeah.
In a similar way.
The way his eyes are bugging out.
Well, he had didn't he have a contact lens?
Oh,
I
is that
believe,
what it
to,
was?
Make his eye
He looked
cross-eyed.
He looked completely strung out though.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was weeding off of something. Obviously nicotine maybe. But his performance, I sat there in that theater, I watched it in that very first scene when he's in that loony bin and he's talking with Bruce Willis. I said to myself, he's going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I could feel it. Now, I was partly wrong and partly right. He was not nominated for an Oscar, but he won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor.
Wow, and then
So-
wasn't nominated for the Oscar,
Wasn't nominated,
but got the Golden Globe.
but got the Golden Globe, which is
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of strange.
You win the Golden Globe, it's almost like
A shoe
lock.
to at least get nominated.
Yeah, to at least get
At
nominated.
least get nominated.
But he didn't. They did not appreciate his performance at the Academy. I
Wow.
don't know why. But the Golden Globes, they did. And this performance was great. I was blown away by his versatility. The fact that he wasn't the pretty boy, he shed that a little bit.
Right.
Am I right? He did.
Absolutely.
The way he looked didn't look like a pretty boy. He looked strung out and dazed, confused. Although his character was intelligent, he came from a rich family and things like that, he was definitely off his rocker. And he did a great job in portraying that. Brad Pitt, 12 Monkeys, 1995. Moving on to number 19 on the list, and it's kind of a combination.
Yeah, we kind of cheated here. It's not just one. We went with both Olympia Dukakis, and Shirley MacLaine and Steel Magnolia.
Yeah, and I thought that was a nice choice because they complement one another.
They do. They're so good in this movie.
Yeah, and they have a comic sense to it. I see this, although it's a drama movie, of course.
Pretty heavy drama.
Yeah, it is. You get lighthearted fun, especially from Shirley MacLaine. You really do. That character's amazing.
I would think Dukakis, but
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, I laugh more at Shirley MacLaine because she's just silly. She is. She's just grouchy. She says that she's been in a bad mood for 20 years or something like that.
Right.
She says that in the movie. And Olympia Dukakis, you're right. She's more of the light.
she's funny, man.
She makes fun of her. Her name's Weezer in the movie, right? And she just makes fun of Shirley MacLaine nonstop. And it just comes through real well. And you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of great actors and performances in this movie. They're not just the only ones.
Yeah, I mean, you could put the entire cast if you wanted to.
Yeah, and you said that. You probably could.
But those two are great, and specifically that
Yeah.
ending scene at the cemetery.
Yeah.
When Sally Field is losing it. Her
Yeah.
daughter just passed away, and she's like, I just want to hit something. I just want to hit someone really hard. And when Dukakis takes fucking Shirley MacLaine, she's like, hit her!
Yeah, hit her!
Hit her!
You want something to hit? Hit her!
Yeah, I mean, that's so great. And Sally Field starts to laugh. They all kind of have that moment.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You're right. Olympia Dukakis. Yes. Comic relief.
Yeah.
In the movie.
She really was.
I want to point out, too, my wife, Amy, loves Olympia Dukakis. I mean, she loves her. And, she loves this movie, too. But every time Olympia's on screen, she can't help herself. Amy's like, I really like her.
Absolutely.
And I want to point out her performance in Moonstruck as well is really good. Another movie that we love to watch, Moonstruck. So great to point out Olympia Dukakis and Shirley MacLaine. I consider Shirley MacLaine one of the greatest actresses of all time.
Can't argue with you.
Right up there with Meryl Streep. She's done some great work and she's been around for a long time. So moving on from 19, next on the list at 18 is
Ed Harris is Gene Kranz in Apollo 13.
Dave is a big fan of Ed Harris. So am I. We talked earlier. Doesn't give many bad performances.
I don't think he has given a bad performance, but that I'm not sure. I haven't seen everything he's done.
We've seen plenty.
But you're right.
But this role signifies control, I thought. Ed Harris has complete control of himself and the room. He is the man in charge. He's the guy. Okay, these astronauts, I mean, they're in dire straits. This is a big deal in American history. And it's kind of on his shoulders. He's the guy that's going to bring them home.
Right.
And you see it in his face. You see it in his movements. The guy is fucking tense.
Yeah.
There's a lot on a plate, and he does a great job in portraying that. And I think that Harris, as an actor, he possesses a special skill or like a nuance. I don't know what it is about him, but he has that certain something as an actor. Do you agree with me? It's different.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is, though. I can't put my finger on it. Is it maybe confidence?
Yes.
Okay. And then him taking a role like this, where he has to be in control, and you get that. I think that you get an actor in that role that's not Ed Harris, may not be as good. I don't see anybody else playing that role and doing it as well, maybe, as Ed.
And I have to agree with you. Ed Harris fucking takes every role by the horns. Mm-hmm. And he executes so well. And one of my favorite parts, there's two favorite parts of mine in this movie, is when, and I don't know it by quote, but the one guy is like, this is our worst hour or something at NASA, and he's like, excuse me, sir, but I think this will be our finest hour.
I love that. I love that line.
It's a simple line. There's nothing really much to it, but the way he delivers it.
Yeah.
and
top
so
notch.
assertive of just like, you know what?
This is gonna be
There's a underlining of fuck you, dude. You're not on my watch.
yeah. It's gonna be
It-
our finest hour because you know what? We're gonna bring him home.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's a very simple and not even he doesn't even say a word, but when they fucking make it back and you see him sit down in that chair,
Oh, that's the
relieved and proud and happy and all those things you see going through him.
Yeah.
As he's just like relieved.
like the world is on
It
his
gives me
shoulders.
goosebumps.
Yeah, the world is on his shoulders, and when they find out that they're okay, they're home, and you see his like the world that falls off his shoulders.
He's like, thank God.
Uh,
Yeah, he's just so like happy and everyone's cheering
Yeah.
around him and he's just so relieved.
he's got his fingers on his nose at one point. He's just like
Yeah.
it looks like he's just to himself like thank you God, thank you for bringing him. Like that little moment that he has with himself is so powerful. God bless Ed Harris.
I love the guy. He's
You know
amazing.
what? I have a note here. I think he would be a good man to know. He looked like somebody that I can go have a conversation with and have
Yeah.
advice given to me.
I agree with you.
He just seems like that guy you would go to
I
and open up to. Don't you get that from
yeah,
him?
he's the type of guy that you could probably just have a beer with and
Yeah.
have a great conversation.
I just get that from him. He may not be. I don't know. I don't know Ed Harris. I don't know anything about
I
him
think you
or
do.
heard anything.
I think you do. With the performances he gives,
You know a little bit about him in a way. Great stuff. Ed Harris, Apollo 13. Love it. Moving on to the next, and the next number is
17
17.
is Jack Nicholson in Terms of Endearment, 1983.
There's a special place in my heart. This character, just because the character himself is just a man-child. Okay, he's a retired astronaut, lives in a really nice house, and his main goal is to get laid. That's it. He wants to, nail young girls. Like they come up to the house and he's drunk, and his next door neighbor, played by Shirley MacLaine, his age. They're neighbors.
Yeah.
They grew up next to each other for years, but never got close. Shirley MacLaine's character is kind of out there. She's kind of a bitch. And he's just this laid back, doesn't give a shit. The way he hits on her, he rubs his chest. Remember that? He like rubs the hair in his chest. He's got his shirt open.
So good.
Yeah. And the way he rubs his chest is like, Aurora, do you want to play with me? Do you want to play, Aurora? Just so comfortable in that character.
Very
Laid
confident.
back, very
Jack's a very
confident.
confident guy.
And to further express my appreciation for this character and what Jack Nicholson did is that later on in the film, I don't know if he transforms and grows, but he shows that side to himself, that vulnerability that he wants to sort of push away. You see it in the scene where Shirley MacLaine's daughter is dying. She's on the verge of death, and she's dating Jack, and he's just sort of not around. But he shows up at the hospital. And
Yes.
you get that scene. He's in a distance.
Yes.
And you just see him be there for her. And you get it inside. I don't know what it is about that scene. Every time I see it, I cry a little. It gets to me.
It's a powerful. I think it's good directing, writing, whatever it is. Like he
Yeah.
kind of is abandoned for a while. You don't really see him, and then all of a sudden he's there.
He's there for her. It means
It's
so
comfort.
much to her.
and you just kind of cheer for him because you're not sure about this guy.
You're not. Does he
You
have a
know?
heart? Does he?
You're right.
He does.
And
He's there for her. And it means a lot to the character. It
you're
shows
so
the side of him.
happy as an audience member.
Yeah.
You're so happy to see him there
We're-
as much
yeah.
as she is.
Good point. We're just as happy as she is.
It's
That's
like,
a great.
Fuck yeah, he's there.
That's a great point. And you get to see the side of Jack Nicholson too as an actor. And in this movie, Jack Nicholson really gave a great performance. A very small role, not a very big role.
No.
And
Yeah.
that's why we put him supporting. Terms of Endearment, 1983, Jack Nicholson. The next one we're going to talk about is number, what do we got here?
16.
Okay. I am so happy that this actor is now, I think in a way, being appreciated more because he is
It only took
simply
20 years?
amazing. He
20
is in a show
some years.
right now called Sneaky Pete, and I said, nice. He's got his own show, Sneaky Pete. It's doing okay, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I love it.
it's popular.
a great show. His name is Giovanni Ribisi. Now, his last name, I think I say it wrong. I say Ribisi, and I heard him in an interview. I think he said Ribisi or something like that. I've been saying it wrong for
20 plus years?
it's
Are you
Ribisi, I
serious?
think. Yes. I always thought it was Ribisi.
Me too.
Yeah. But I'll maybe do a little
we're talking
research
about
on this.
Ribisi,
Okay.
or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
In The Gift.
The Gift in
from
2000.
2000, right?
The movie itself, it didn't do that well. Maybe
No,
not with
not
the
really.
audiences. I think critics liked it, but the movie itself didn't do that well at the box office, so on. But it's a gem, people. If you haven't seen The Gift,
You're
and
missing out.
we're not talking about the Jason Bateman movie, the newer one that came out, The Gift. I heard
Yeah,
that's good.
I haven't seen that.
I want to see
and
it.
I will.
It's
'cause
on
I
Netflix.
love Bateman, dude.
But Giovanni
Good.
Ribisi, you want to see, excuse me, you want to see just crazy great acting. I suggest you watch this performance of Ribisi in this film. You know, there's not much to discuss with this selection, quite honestly, but that last scene he has with Kate Blanchett,
Rough.
I watched it again today. I watched it like 5 times. It's so powerful. He is all over the place, losing his mind. I mean, he went through the ringer in that scene as an actor.
After that, he must have passed out for 5 days. I mean, the emotional drain that had to take
Yes.
must have been too much.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a performance like that from any actor. The way he is so emotional. He's beating on his father. They're outside. He has his father tied up to a chair, and he's smacking him. I guess the father abused him when he was a child. And he's smacking him, and Kate Winslet and the mom is there. He's yelling at everybody, how can you let this happen? He's a complete train wreck, and he lights his father on fire at the end of the scene.
He plays this character who's kind of...
Would you say he's slow, right?
He's definitely slow. He has an accent. He has this speech impediment.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's very believable. It's so hard to do that. It's so hard to pull that off.
Yes.
And I feel, I mean, he ranks up there with, you know, how Dustin Hoffman was in Rain Man, how Leonardo DiCaprio was in What's
yeah.
Eating Gilbert
Yeah.
Grape. You know, when you kind of delve into a character that has a speech impediment,
Yeah.
sort like that, you can pull it.
It's hard.
You can do it and look like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
And he nails it.
Yeah. I mean, you have brought that up in the past about that whole thing. Playing a retard, so to speak, or someone with an impediment, it's not easy to do. And Ribisi pulled it off. I give advice right now to any aspiring actor, okay? You have to watch that performance. It's a learning
sure.
lesson.
For sure.
It's a moment in film history you have to take notice. It's a clinic in good, great, excellent acting. Giovanni.
And I'm gonna have to say, in this movie is also another supporting role by Keanu Reeves.
That's right. That's
who
right.
I'm not a huge fan of.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, right. He's
He's
just okay. But in this movie, he's really fucking good.
Yeah. It kind of takes you by, whoa, hey.
and I'll have to say, like, I always loved him in Parenthood and Bill and Ted's
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Those are fun roles for him. My Own Private Hideout.
Yeah,
He's good in that.
he is.
But in The Gift, this is
Yeah.
his best acting.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
This is
good
his best
point.
acting.
Greg Kinnear's in this as
Oh,
well.
that's right.
I mean, there's some great actors in this
Yeah.
movie.
And Kate Blanchett,
Yeah, she's tremendous.
she's good in everything.
Yeah,
so
she's fantastic.
She'll never disappoint.
Wow. And I just want, before we move on, that last scene just gives me chills. I just wanted to point that out. Every time I see it,
It's
God
a
bless him.
disturbing scene.
It's disturbing, but it
It
gives
should-
me chills.
Should give you chills.
Wow. All right. Next up on the list is number
15.
and Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator.
Yes.
Okay, this was also in 2000. And wow, we talked earlier and we seen him in things before that. Okay. Now, mind you, he is the younger brother of River Phoenix.
He was in Parenthood.
He was in
He
Parenthood.
was like 12 or 11.
Yeah, he was really young. Looks completely different when he was a kid. Like back then.
Well, I mean,
He had like the
he
long
resembles
blonde
his-
hair.
Yeah, I mean, it
But
looks like him.
he looked different in that movie. He was growing up. But he really took me by surprise in a good way. With this performance, he is pure evil in this movie. Pleasantly surprised. And like I said, he didn't give bad performances in the past, but he opened up my eyes in Gladiator. Now, things that may not be too noticeable, but believe me, they mean so much, are the gestures that he makes in the film. Little things. As an actor, Well, me appreciating a good film is just that. When I see an actor give a subtle little look or a gesture, it says to me they went deep. They went so deep doing their homework, so on and so forth. You get to see those little reactions. It goes a long way with me, and it goes a long way with the character. That's something like extra that an actor will give the audience and himself to the screen. It helps in the film. And Joaquin Phoenix, if you notice in this movie, he does that. He'll snarl. I mean, little things like that make me appreciate Joaquin Phoenix and also make me realize just how talented he is. And ever since this movie, and I think Dave would agree with me, his ability to be an actor we put in high respect happened after this movie, I think. He took a leap in this film. I don't know how it happened. You know, sometimes an actor it clicks. They get it. Like, oh, this was the role that kind of just made me feel more confident in my work.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I think that's what Joaquin did here. And I wanted just a little tidbit. His real name's Leaf.
Yeah.
No, his real name's Joaquin. And then he called himself Leaf for a little while because all of his siblings were called, River and Chastity. Rain. So he called himself Leaf. And if you watch Parenthood in the credits, his name's Leaf. Yeah.
Right.
So he changed it back to Joaquin. Any notes?
He was very nervous during the filming of this.
Was he? I didn't know
To
that.
the point that he would ask Russell Crowe to kind of rough him up.
Oh,
Get
boy.
him kind of, just to kind of get him out of his head, maybe.
Okay. Interesting.
And
acting alongside Russell Crowe may do that for you. He's amazing.
he's very intimidating.
He is a big guy. He just looks like he's in a bad mood all the time. He does.
Yes. Yes.
He
I would
does.
have to say, I would be very, if I were to even meet,
Yeah.
around, I would be intimidated by Russell Crowe.
I hear he's loosening up a bit in his old age.
We've
Thank
talked
God.
about this, I think. On
Yeah,
the
I've seen him in interviews. He looks pretty laid back now. He well, not so
for
much
him.
so earlier on. And, he had to work out some shit. He may have stuff going on in his personal life. You don't know. They bring it to the set, man. They do. It's common.
Yeah.
It's normal. You're in a
Yeah.
bad mood for 50 years. He's not 50.
20 years.
20 years? Yeah, that'll do it. So I wanted to go ahead and point out Joaquin Phoenix's performance in Gladiator because it is noteworthy. Moving on to the next one.
Number 14, we have Ed Norton in Birdman.
Yes, yes, yes. Wow. Birdman. Go, Dave. You go first. I could
You
go.
want me to go first?
If you want, I love Ed Norton. Okay, I started out my career wanting to get the role he got in Primal Fear. He was a theater student at the time, theater major at a college. It was a nationwide hunt. He got the role, and he was great in that.
I
Amazing.
I'm a little torn if he's better in Primal Fear than Birdman.
No, he's better in Birdman.
You think so?
Yes, that was his first movie, man. He was
Yeah,
great in
he
it.
was fucking phenomenal.
But being his first movie, but watching him in this role, he is so confident, cocky. I mean, this movie's about theater, acting, and that's another reason why I love it. It's just great premise.
There's a lot of reflection. I mean, there's not only a reflection of Michael Keaton and how he was Batman and fell from grace and
Okay.
is now an older
Right.
actor living off the coattails of that.
Yeah.
But it also reflects on how Ed Norton is a really difficult actor to work with.
And that's in
And
truthfulness.
that's him.
Edward Norton is hard to work with on the set. He's moody. We're talking about Russell Crowe. Maybe the same way.
We talked about James Spader.
James
in the last
Spader,
episode.
no. James
He's
Spader.
moody and weird, man.
James
Spader, I hear, has like weird some OCD shit that
Okay.
goes on.
I didn't know that.
During the Blacklist, I know we're talking about Ed Norton, but during the Blacklist,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that he called one of the producers or writers of the show Blacklist to talk about his character.
Yeah.
This writer or producer was in the middle of his daughter's birthday party.
Okay.
And ended up talking to him for fucking 4 hours
Oh,
about his character.
see, that's ridiculous.
Spader, this is why he doesn't do a lot of work. He's hard to work with too,
Wow.
as well as a Norton.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, Ed Norton, hard to work with, so on the set, and you get a glimpse of this in his character.
Yes, he probably, I can do this.
Yeah,
This
he
is
said.
me.
And this movie's about theater, okay? So they're doing like practicing their scene in the movie. And I went kind of deep with this. Listen to this. So here we go. Watching Norton and Keaton rehearsing a scene on stage in the theater is breathtaking, and I'll tell you why. Actors pretending to do a scene in the theater, right? That's deep, and it kind of messes with me a little bit, and this is why. Like, I think for a minute, what if the actors they're portraying in the film are doing a scene on stage about actors pretending to do a scene on stage? And it goes into a rabbit hole, a never ending cycle, because the movie's about acting, right? And they're in the movie as actors, performing a scene in a movie, being actors.
Oh yeah.
And it's really weird is that
kind of
Edward, yeah,
it's a mind
it's a
fuck.
mind fuck. So what if they were on stage acting like actors doing a scene within a movie? You're going now you're doing levels
Uh-huh.
3 deep. And I felt to myself, how cool. But watching Edward Norton and Keaton rehearse on stage in a movie, you saw Edward Norton do a good acting job within the scene of that context, but he put a little bit of a corniness to it. Like they were just rehearsing.
I know. I
That
noticed
can't
too.
be easy.
I know it's both of them, even Keaton
Right,
too.
yes.
They both like when you're watching, you're like, wow, they're definitely rehearsing.
Right.
Like, how do you? They tone it down
They do.
to do that, and then
Yes.
bring it back to a level once they're done rehearsing.
Yes.
as if they're normal.
It's so weird. And then Keaton will also do the same thing in the movie when Edward Norton is in the sun tanning booth, and Keaton like gets pissed at him because he did something stupid. And then Keaton has him up against the wall and telling him that, you know, he had a rough childhood, his dad beat him, he took me to the shed, and he's completely breaking down, and Edward Norton's like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't know about that. And Keaton's like, that's because it's not true. I'm fucking with you. See, I can fuck with you too. So here you have an actor acting in a movie, faking, and dude, there are so many levels to this movie. It's
a good-
scary.
It's so good.
It's so good, and props to Ed Norton for just bringing a great performance to the screen. I don't know if you have any other notes about this one.
Not really.
I don't
no.
think so either. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll wrap that one up. Edward Norton, Birdman, 2014. And we're going to move on to a movie that I watch yearly because
That's one of your
that is one of my movies.
yearly movies, huh?
It's a Stanley.
It seems like you have many.
I have. Oh, I do. I watch movies constantly.
I know, man.
I just do.
It's insane.
I rehash, I go back, and I watch my favorite movies. And Full Metal Jacket, 1987, gives us a supporting character in this film. And he's a sergeant. He's a drill instructor.
Lee Ermey.
R. Lee Ermey. Now, he was supposed to be just an advisor in this movie.
Until he told Kubrick, these fucking guys don't know what they're doing.
They're not
Just
believable.
give me the role.
I know this.
And he told Kubrick, he's like, give me the role. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then Ermey went into full fucking sergeant mode.
Yeah.
He's like, you fucking stand up when I'm talking to you. Whatever the hell he said to him, and Kubrick
Like,
gave him the role.
yeah. He told him to stand up, and Kubrick did. And you got the role.
Yeah.
You made me stand up. And boy, I mean,
And he was allowed to improvise most of his lines.
Okay.
Which is very rare for Kubrick
yes.
his films to have someone improvise the lines of a movie.
He didn't like it. Now, it would happen from time to time, but you're right.
You
You are right.
don't do that.
He allowed him to do that.
And in fact, the one scene where Ermey was like, what did he say? Something like, he's like, you don't have the common courtesy to give the guy a reach around or
Yeah.
something like that. And Kubrick's like, cut. He's like, what?
What-
He went
what's
to
that?
Ermey. He's like, what's a reach around? And Ermey told him what it was, and Kubrick laughed. He's like, hilarious. He's like, okay, let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Let's go
That's
with
pretty
it,
good.
man. Just
Take two.
keep it in
Yeah,
there.
just do it.
That goes to show how fucking amazing Ermey was. He was able to persuade Kubrick, who's like
Yeah, hard to persuade.
really difficult to
Yeah.
work with, even.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And to persuade him to just kind of do what he wanted. Are you fucking kidding?
That's impressive.
Monumental.
Yeah.
Monumental.
Sergeant Hartman is a rude, crude, and pouty mouth drill instructor. And the first time he comes on screen, forget it. I mean, he blows you away. I mean, I don't know how long that monologue was, but he just boom, boom, boom. Like he didn't breathe. And can you imagine being in that room, those other actors, and not laugh at what he says?
It's got to be tough, man.
Oh, those insults that he's just flinging around are so good. Not much depth to this character, but it was something like a staple in film history, this character.
Oh,
I think.
absolutely.
Am I right?
Oh, yeah, man.
I mean, he did something really cool, different. You think of drill instructors or basic training, and I cringe. I'm like, heaven forbid I was in that situation. I'd shit myself.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
wouldn't handle it.
I'd be so scared. And this actor doesn't flinch. The dialogue comes out a mile a minute, and it's so fun to watch. I mean, he just goes. I think that's all I have the notes. The fact that a staple in film history.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. Now, he would go on, this Ermy guy, to do some other great work. Nothing
He was in
great note.
Fletch Lives.
He was in Fletch Lives. I love that character. Yeah, he did other films as well.
I love that movie.
What, Fletch?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Both of them.
Fletch Lives
There's Fletch
and
and Fletch Lives. There's Fletch and Fletch Lives. He was in the second one.
Which one did you like better?
That's tough, man.
I think Fletch Lives was better. The sequel was better.
That
was
that
funnier.
whole scene of the what do they call those?
Are you talking about the religious
are they
people?
televangelists?
Yeah. That when he's
when
one of
Chevy
the characters.
is the fucking character. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Wait, Peter
Your
Lemongello?
house is on fire. What? They told me to tell you your house is on fire.
Yeah, God bless you.
God bless you for believing that shit.
Oh God, we could go on to that movie for
Yeah, we could probably
an
just
hour.
like that whole movie, but we won't.
Oh, God.
One quick note about Ernie and
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket. Apparently, he had a Jeep accident at like 1:00 in the morning during during the
Yeah.
filming. Broke all the ribs on his left side.
Well, I didn't know that.
It halted production for a while because he still had to film a lot of his scenes.
Ooh.
And once even he was able to film, you'll notice he was not able to lift his left arm.
Well, I'll have to take notice of that.
Yeah. Certain scenes, he wasn't able to lift his
Wow.
arm.
Well, he went through the production and did a fantastic job. It
Sure.
made our list.
Kubrick's like, God damn.
This guy.
This guy. So, all right, moving on to number 12. And this movie is a very important movie.
And it is. I agree.
And, we'll say that from time to time because there are movies that are very important.
Yeah.
And this one is Denzel Washington in Glory.
1989.
1989.
I'm intimidated by his character a little bit. Now, he does that, I think, Denzel. He's
He's a powerful guy.
He's very powerful. He just has that in him. He has that stature. He has the ability to be that way. And in Glory, he's like that. Now, talk about a fellow with a chip on his shoulder, the size of Gibraltar. I mean, the guy is just hateful. It's a Civil War movie.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen this movie, which you really need to, it is about the Civil War and how they had recruits. It was the first
Black regiment?
African American
Yes.
regiment.
Yes.
And they have Captain Robert Shaw, who's played by Matthew Broderick.
One of his best roles.
His only best role. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's not true.
Ferris Bueller. I'll give him that. Other than that, this is the only movie I like Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, okay.
But this captain is, offered and accepts the promotion to a rank of colonel to command all this first black regiment.
Yeah.
And Denzel Washington is a runaway slave, and he signs up for this army, and while the training is happening, he ends up running away because he's got bad feet. And
They show his feet; they're just blisters and red. It's just a
and
mess.
He wanted to get better shoes, and that's when they bring him back and they start the lashings.
They whip him.
Now, this part is really, it's tough to watch.
Pretty emotional, deep.
It's rough, and they had, from what I hear, it was, kind of somewhat real. The lashings, like
They were really hitting him.
it was pretty real.
Not as savage as it could
no,
be.
probably not, but it was real to the point where, you know, when you see him kind of tear up and cry, it seemed like
It hurt.
It was pretty
It seemed
real.
like it pretty real to me.
And it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, me too. It was pretty real to me. It looked real to me as an for him as an actor going through that whole beating process. Looked pretty real, and that tear, like you could tell, and he's trying to hold it back. You could tell,
Yeah.
and it just comes out, and it just streams down. I mean, it was like a big fucking tear, crushing down his cheek. Very emotional scene, and it was that scene that really signified his believability and just the pure genius of Denzel Washington, an actor I can't wait to talk about as well. I am surprised I haven't done him yet. I'm a little
It's
yeah.
overdue.
I'm a little intimidated to do it, to be honest with you. There's a lot to talk about, and I will sit down and go, I got to do Denzel, and then I get right down to it. I'm like, maybe next time. It's just so much to delve into. So we will do him in the future. But talking about Glory, his performance was spot on. The whipping scene is a good example of that. And this movie really works too with the performances of Denzel and Morgan Freeman working together. The scene where they're in the tent and Denzel is just an asshole. You know, he just hates the white people, of course, and of course he should. But Morgan Freeman says, they're dying for you. They're dying for you, fool. You may not like them, but there are white soldiers out there. They're dying for your freedom. You should take notice of that. Nice
Yeah.
little, line from Morgan Freeman, and he was good in this too.
Of course he
Morgan
was.
Freeman,
Yeah.
come on. But Denzel Washington, and that was what?
That was 1989.
Okay.
That movie.
Great.
And of course, he won the Oscar for Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
He sure did, and well deserved.
You got that fucking right.
1989, Glory. All right, next up is
Number 11, we go to Christian Bale as Dickie Eklund in The Fighter
Woo-hoo!
from 2010.
Now, Dave has let it be known. He's one of the biggest Christian Bale fans out there. And well deserved. I have been hard on Christian Bale in the past.
I don't know why.
I just am.
For what reason? What?
Just because of the fact of the American Psycho role. It took me a while to kind of get into that character.
Yeah, you need to get over it.
Okay. The shenanigans he pulled with the
Batman.
yes, yelling at this stage crew. I get it. We talked about that earlier in another episode. There was just certain things about Christian Bale I didn't like.
Rubbed you the wrong way.
He rubbed me the wrong way, or he did. But folks, Christian Bale in The Fighter 2010, I think is his best performance. Now, this is why. He dived so deep into this guy. Now, this is a real guy. He plays a real person in this movie. So guess what he did?
He lost a lot of weight.
Lost a lot of weight and followed this guy around like a puppy dog for hours at a time.
He wanted to mimic him the best that he could.
Yes, followed him around. I guess what's his name?
Dickie
right?
Eklund.
He was one hell of a character. And you could see this in the movie.
During the period of this movie, Dickie Eklund was addicted to crack.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And to me, it looks like Christian Bale is addicted to crack in this whole movie.
Of course.
I could go on for days about these actors that go so deep. They take that method or the method they have and they just churn it. And when you get that final product and you go, yep, I believe he's a crackhead. I believe he's this. Just the way he walks and talks and looks and acts. Boom. Christian Bale puts on a clinic just like Ribisi did.
Yeah.
And he does. I don't know. I'm going to go down my notes here. If you have something to say. Okay, here we go. The last scene in the movie. I think it's the last scene. Where I just fucked up his name. Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. He's a boxer. He's in the ring, fighting. He wins the match. Yay, right? Everybody's all excited. Christian Bale, his character, jumps over the rope, hugs Wahlberg, takes his head. Their heads touch. Their eyes meet. They're, connecting on a level, saying, "We did it. You did it, man. You won the match. I can't believe it." And then he backs away from Wahlberg, and Wahlberg's celebrating with other people, like his mom. And you watch Christian Bale as he backs away. By God, his mouth is wide open. And guess what? He's in a state of unbelievable. I mean, he's like unbelievable. This kid did it. He's so in awe of him. And it's so fun and interesting to watch an actor go that deep. It was just for 3 seconds.
That's
But
all it takes.
it was those 3 seconds that proved to me just how good he is. I got it at that point.
That's crazy. It took that long.
For me, sometimes it takes that long with certain actors. When I see Genius, I like to
Yeah.
think of it that way. When these actors are so into what they're doing, it comes out eventually. Like, it just does.
Well, it came out way before that, but it's better late than never.
Dave being snarky.
I'm just saying, dude. As soon as I saw American Psycho, I'm like, this guy's fucking good.
Wow, see, it took me a little longer, but
But that's
Hey,
fine.
you know what? This role it did something for me. It really did. I don't know what to say. Maybe it was that moment that I expressed.
Yeah.
Just those 3 little
It could
seconds.
be that simple.
For me, is it the levels an actor will put into their character. I think maybe that's what Bale does. He piles on the research. It's so deep that he, as an actor, allows himself to be there in that
yeah.
scene. Like, he is that person just at that time. He's that guy.
Yes.
He's not Christian Bale anymore at all.
That's what he does.
So
And
props.
I will always respect that.
So
He may be an asshole in real life. I don't know this.
yeah, I don't know.
And that's his own business. But as an actor,
Well respected.
absolutely.
Okay, so next up on the list is number what?
Number 10. Another
10.
movie that is.
Okay, we're now getting into the top 10 best supporting actors / actresses of all time that we think. Now, mind you, there's a bubble that we live in
Yeah.
at the time periods,
Yeah.
but this role, talk about evil,
This is brutal.
pure evilness.
This is rough.
Rafe Fiennes, Schindler's List, 1993. Dave, go.
He plays Amon Goth, I think is the name.
Think it is. It could be
Who
Goat.
was in charge of running the concentration camp in Germany. It was actually German occupied Poland
Oh, that's right. It was in Poland. Yes.
during World War II.
And Fiennes says that they filmed in Poland, in Krakow.
Yeah,
They filmed there. Yep.
a brutal role,
Brutal.
to say the least, when you're talking about the Holocaust and what this piece of fucking shit did, and to the point where they had there was a survivor of the Holocaust who was on set at some point. And
I read about that.
she couldn't even look at Ralph. Is it Ralph or Ralph?
Rafe.
She couldn't even look at him because he reminded her so much of
Yeah.
the real.
This
Amon
real fucking
Goth.
asshole.
Yeah, and it's Schindler's List.
That's a
Most-
tough one to
Most
watch.
people have seen it. I know. I saw it back in the day, a couple times at least. But it's been a while, and I remember borrowing it from you because you have it on DVD.
Yes, I do.
And I had it for probably a good 5 years.
You did have it for a while.
You have to be in the kind of mood to watch it, and apparently I was never in that kind of mood for 5 years.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, I want to watch a movie about the Holocaust.
It's such a powerful film.
But it is. I went and I watched some of the scenes.
Oh, just recently, just some clips.
Just recently to kind of freshen up because it had been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah.
And it's brutal when he is on the balcony. Obviously, is
Mm-hmm.
one of the most disturbing scenes. The way he is sniping out
Yeah.
these people.
And he does it like he's
In-
brushing his teeth.
The way he has a cigarette just sitting on the balcony,
Mm-hmm.
and he snipes somebody out, and he just leans his head down with his mouth and
Mhm.
just takes it from the balcony. It's
Yep.
just like
Like walking through the park.
it's tough to watch, man.
This guy had no soul. Plain and simple.
No.
Rafe says that he found it hard to get into this guy. I mean, come on. Because, he's a nice guy in real life. and a dark distinction. It took him a while to get into the character. He said he walked around a lot of museums, kind of got the feel for things, and finally got it. And it was hard for him to break away. He embodied that character, pure evil, people. So if you want to see some tremendous acting, a supporting role in Schindler's List, Fiennes nails it. Now, he was nominated for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Didn't win. Fucker. And I think that as far as film history, this character, I put him right up there. As far as pure evil characters I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like scary,
Yep.
just raw, and he slipped in and did a great job. Pure and simple.
No argument here.
No, not at all. Wow. All right. Any other notes for this one?
No, I don't.
Okay,
we'll,
cool.
We'll slip to number 9.
Number 9.
A lot of fan favorites on this
Oh,
one.
yeah, baby.
Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Woohoo!
Probably one of the best cameos of all time.
And what a cameo it was. Wow.
He's only in the one scene
Yes.
and fucking kills it. I mean,
Nailing a scene. That's nailing a scene.
there was the actors. I think there was who's not there?
It was,
it Pacino?
Pacino was in the bar with the customer.
I think he even was on set just to watch,
Oh, I'm sure he was.
just to see it.
Always be closing, people. Always be closing.
And I mean, he based his monologue off the George C. Scott speech.
Oh,
from
and Patton. I can believe that.
You know, that kind of was an inspiration for him.
I mean, he destroys that scene. He destroys everything in that scene.
Yeah.
So powerful,
Yeah.
so confident. And I think most acting schools play this scene for their students, and I can see why.
They do, huh?
Because the thing about acting school is they teach you to be the hero. You want to be the hero in some way in your scene. You want to be the guy. And Baldwin is the fucking man.
You can say that.
Alpha male.
Yeah.
To the nth degree. And everybody else is a piece of shit. You're not as good as me. You never will be. Shape up or ship up, guys. You'll be out the fucking door. And if it was up to me, you would be fucking gone already. And
Yeah.
he just lays it on thick. And I mean, the lines in this movie are just used in other venues as well. In life and in other movies. That scene comes up. Just certain lines he has in there. You know, put the coffee down.
Yeah.
You know, little things like that. Always be closing ABC, like I just said. Little snippets of just pure gold. And we're going to give props to this man right here. David fucking Mamet. Playhouse alum. Great writing. He wrote it. It was a play.
Yeah, his character wasn't in the original play, I don't believe.
What, that was added in the movie?
I believe so.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
They felt they needed a little something extra in the movie and decided on this character.
He wasn't. I think they wanted Baldwin, I believe, to be Pacino's character, but Pacino won out on that role,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, there's no weak link in this
Oh
cast.
no,
I mean,
you won't find one. And you also have Ed Harris.
yeah. Ed Harris is in this one as well.
Alan Arkin is fucking great. He didn't want to do the movie because he thought it was his role was too boring. But he made it.
He made it good.
interesting.
He did.
He found a way to.
So pathetic, that character.
Yeah.
I mean, pathetic.
Yeah, he made a whole background story of like he was a married man who just lost his job and he needed a new job and he just got this one.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
Arkin made his character with this whole background of like.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
he's great. Everyone's great.
Yeah, everyone was in that cast. Yeah, I mean, everyone. What a cast. Man. All right. Number 9, I believe?
We're at 8.
I'm sorry. Number 8.
Number 8 from Apocalypse Now, Robert Duvall.
Mr. Duvall, I highlighted in an episode already, one of my very first ones. I was really nervous going into that episode thinking, I'm not going to learn that much about Duvall. Like, how am I going to find information about him? Whoa, was I wrong? This guy loves acting. Another thing,
For sure.
he loves to talk about acting. And it shows in this role. By God, this character, I love him so much. He's deeply rooted, his feet planted firmly on the ground. He did his homework and knew this guy. I mean, they're in the middle of a war. in Vietnam. Bombs going off. I mean, shells exploding all over the place. They're on like this little island, right? And he's all in his little getup. Like, I guess he went full on in this getup. He wanted to look like this Southern, like Civil War general. Like he
Yeah,
went
I
back
see that.
with the hat and everything.
Sure.
He had that scarf on, and I mean, he looked the part. He strutted around like a rooster. If you notice in the movie, his back his back is like upright, and he's walking around like a rooster. He wanted to be the alpha male, kind of like Alec Baldwin was
Sure.
in the last one we did. I mean, this character, like Dave, I mean, he's walking around with bombs going off, like he doesn't give a shit.
No big deal.
Like he's seen so much bad things in the war. I think that's the way he took it.
For sure.
You could die at any moment, man. I mean, why be afraid? He's that far into the shit. Like, he doesn't even care anymore.
He's like, it's gonna hit me or it's not.
Right. Yeah. All the other soldiers around him are taking cover. They're on the ground. And he's standing there. He wants to surf. That's all he cares about. He wants to go on the beach and surf. And he's getting pissed because there's waves coming in he's missing and the war's going on and he wants to get in the water. But by God, I mean, you talk about a deeply rooted character. This is one of them.
For sure. 11 minutes of screen time. Is that right?
Yes, he was not in it a lot. It's a long movie.
And he was nominated.
Yeah, he was.
He was for 11 minutes of screen time.
That's how good he was. People were like, what the fuck is
That
this?
is insane.
We have to nominate him. He may not win, but he deserved that nomination.
He didn't win, but he was at least nominated for 11 minutes of screen time, and I find that to be fucking insane.
Yeah. That scene is loaded with great dialogue. It really is. And he took it, he made it his own, and he gave us just an unforgettable performance. There are many actors out there that feel this character, that acting performance, is one of the greatest of all time. And doing my research on Duvall, it is amazing to me how many people love him. They say, he's my favorite actor. Like, what?
No shit.
Really? They're like, yeah, he's my favorite.
I would feel a lot of people don't even know who he is.
I was blown away. Like, Robert Duvall's your favorite actor? That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
I just
great to
love
hear.
that. I do. I love it.
Yeah.
I hold him in great respect. Neighborhood Playhouse alum. Thank you very much.
There's another one.
He loves the Meisner technique. And it works for him, obviously. So there you go. Robert Duvall, Apocalypse Now, 1979. And the next
75.
That was 75?
That's what I have.
Oh, okay. All right.
In number 7, we're going to go to 2006
Yes, we are.
with Mark Wahlberg in The Departed.
Great movie.
Which
Great
is,
role.
That movie's based off the original Hong Kong movie from 2002, which was called Infernal Affairs.
Okay.
Which I did not know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. He plays a guy named Dingham.
Dingham.
Different kind of character, people. I know you. I'm sure most of you have watched this movie. It's just a great movie, and that character, holy mackerel. Mark Wahlberg, right? We did The Fighter with.
But, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mark Wahlberg is good.
Of course he is. Believe it or not,
Who would have thought? Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
nobody would have thought. He had a time machine going back to 1990.
He was
like that.
when I was in high school, like 92, 93. That's when, maybe earlier than that.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch
Yeah.
were big, and I mean, to think his acting career would be as successful and as
I'm impressed.
a level of quality
The quality work that he does.
is impressive.
He cares. A very interesting character as well because he was a fuck up in Boston, getting arrested, and he says in this role he combined all of the police officers that arrested him in Boston and put them all together. Yeah, I guess they're all dickheads in Boston, huh?
Pretty fucked up.
The way he delivers his lines, cocky, know-it-all, and he comes out like the hero in the end because he shoots.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any notes about this performance?
I know he and Scorsese didn't exactly get along on the
Oh, okay.
set.
I didn't know that.
There was a lot of tension. I think
Okay.
Scorsese was pushing him a little bit. I think a lot of it was he was only supposed to be Wahlberg was only supposed to work for like a couple weeks, and it turned into like 4 months.
Yeah,
you
there
know?
was some sort of issue where Wahlberg had to work out the fact that he had to do all his scenes first. Like the first few weeks of production,
Huh.
they did his scenes and then he was off. He was gone. So
He's a busy guy.
he is a busy guy.
He does a lot.
He does keep busy, and he's also a big family man. He has a couple of kids, and he's an interesting guy. He doesn't masturbate. He says he doesn't masturbate. He
Get
goes,
the fuck out of here.
I have a wife, and that's all I need. I never masturbate. Now that's what he says. I wanted to put that in there. I thought that was interesting. Fucking liar. He's so pure now. Get the fuck out of here. Like he's not picking up a dirty magazine or going online. Maybe he doesn't. I don't.
Magazine. Who the hell?
Yeah, no one
picks
does
up
magazines anymore.
Come on.
So I thought that was an interesting little
amazing.
tidbit about Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. He don't need that shit.
Okay.
We're just so pure. I have a note here. Ethan Hawke was considered for the role.
Huh.
Interesting. All right, so moving on from Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
We're gonna move on to number 6, which is Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting.
Yes, and of course we touched on this in Robin Williams' episode. We're going to touch on it again because it deserves it.
Of course it does. One of my favorite characters of all time in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty close up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I mean, what else can you say? He fucking made that movie.
He did. It's a good movie.
Without him,
It wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have been as good. Let's just put it that way.
you wouldn't be really talking about it. It wouldn't have the success that it did today. It put it on the map.
It's almost hard to put into words what his performance meant to the movie and to the audience members that watched it. It made you fall in love with Robin Williams all over again. Doesn't he just do that?
Yeah, even more.
Yeah. You watch a performance like that, and you're like, I love you. Thank you for giving us your talent because you have so much of it. Thank you for letting it seep out every now and then. And that's what he did in this role. He touched Matt Damon's life. He touched Ben Affleck's life in this movie. And deservingly so. He put them on the map
Sure.
He did.
Of course he did.
with this role. I don't know how much you want to get more.
Not much. I mean, it is what it is, and I know
Yeah.
we touched upon it before.
And we did.
so-
And if you want to know more about Robin Williams, we go off on him for almost 2 hours in one episode.
Yeah.
And it was a great one. It was the first one we did together. We
Right.
wanted to do him first. So thank you, Robin Williams, once again, for just being fucking awesome.
You are missed.
You are surely
Very missed.
still missed very much and always will be.
Yeah, I think that's a given.
You know, just thinking of the millions he's made smile and the billions more he'll make smile in the future. Thank you, Robin Williams. Moving on to our next one. And what number is this?
This is number 5. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
Gary Oldman in The Professional.
We're now in the top 5, and Gary Oldman would be number 5, 1994.
Yeah,
It's also called Leon.
right.
Now, Gary Oldman just got an Oscar recently, deserved beyond all recognition.
It's awesome.
He improved the hell out of this role. It's called. His name is Stansfield, I believe, and he did some like playful things with the character. Like Gary Oldman just does that. He's so good. He's been working for so long at such a high level that once he gets on set, he's able to sort of be loosey goosey, and you see that in State of Grace. But you're gonna see it even more maybe in this movie. Can you give an example of a loosey goosey choice or decision that he made in this movie?
Well, we have to talk about the pills.
Yes, that's the
And
number one.
That's number one is the pills and how he takes them.
Really, just
Uh,
what a choice.
The way he when they're out there in the hallways
Yes.
and the one guy's telling that one old lady, this sweet old lady, get back in your house,
Yeah.
you know, and she's still just like, leave those people alone, and he's like, he's got a cigarette out,
Yeah.
he takes his gun out and fucking fires it near her,
Yeah,
and
like-
blows the glass right behind her, and he's like, he's got a cigarette just dangling from his mouth, and he's like, he said, go back inside.
No,
I mean,
little
it's
things like
those
that.
little things like that. The way he's just like, he brings so much.
Oh, he brings so
character.
much to the table. Can you imagine acting with that guy? He gives you so much of himself.
Yeah.
And more. So it's got to be so easy to act with him because he's giving you so much to work off of. That just him being on the set, he will go ahead and take those pills. I think what they are, they're capsules. And you don't have the stuff inside. So he puts them between his teeth and he cracks it. So now all the stuff that's inside.
Just drips
Now,
down.
yeah, and he doesn't swallow it. He
He inhales
inhales it. What the fuck?
Is that what he does?
Yeah, because
That's what
he does that,
huh?
and then they inhale it, and then
Wow.
that's how he takes his pills. Very strange, but
I
hey,
wonder where he got that from. I wonder if that's out
you know,
there.
I may have to do some research on that. But that's so unusual.
He's unusual.
He is just very good in this portrayal. He plays a crooked cop, and he's psychotic. He plays a psychotic cop.
Very much.
He shoots people, no problem. And he just goes ahead and shows us once again just how brilliant he is, giving genius work. And he loves Mozart, like he plays all the, the Mozart when he kills people. And I think even our cousin Bobby loves this role. I think he loves Gary Oldman because he'll even talk about this Fifth Element.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he just loves Gary Oldman, and we do too.
Good for him.
Oh man, Gary Oldman, 1994, The Professional.
And now moving into number 4, Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched.
in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Now, I was a little on the fence putting her in this list because she won for Best Actress.
And that's a little confusing.
To me as well. That's a supporting role.
I would think it is.
But it was so amazing and good. I think they bumped it up, so to speak.
Okay.
I mean, would you agree?
Maybe. They may have done that.
I think there was more of an honor for her to get the Best Actress because although it's a supporting role, it doesn't do it justice. It was that good. It was so historic, that performance.
Well, for sure.
Icy cold bitch.
Oh, she was horrible.
She was so evil, and she hated the fact that she was so evil that she would be pissed because everybody else is having fun goofing around, right? Yeah.
And she had to be,
The bitch. Kind of keep in character to keep it going.
And I hear near the last, once they wrapped up shooting,
Yeah.
she came out and adjust her underwear or
Yeah.
something just to prove hey, I can have fun too.
I'm not a cold-hearted bitch.
Right.
Nurse Ratched is, not me. Oh,
And-
man.
To just to throw some light on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mhm.
Now, I found out this is a favorite movie of not only Ron Howard, but former President Barack Obama,
Oh,
which I found very interesting.
okay.
Weird.
Yeah, the president and Ron Howard. I mean, okay. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a fascinating story in itself.
It is.
Even the simple fact of how it got made because it was Michael Douglas production. He was a
Yeah.
producer. He produced.
Before he was really
Right.
a big time actor.
But it was his father that wanted to get this done years ago. He had the rights to it, and it just wasn't the right time, he felt. So he got older in age, couldn't do it. His son's like, I want to do it. So Kurt had a little bit of say in it, but this was Michael Douglas's film.
Yeah.
And props to Michael Douglas. Fantastic movie. I guess Jack was hard to work with on set. The fact they were, and the fact that all these actors are in this ward for most of the movie, they were getting all cooped up, and it was just a hard movie to work on. And I can imagine it took a lot out of Louise Fletcher, this movie, and she got up to the Academy Award to accept it. Did you have something about that?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, she got up to accept it. Very sweet speech.
Very.
And at the end, she thanked her parents, and she did it in sign language.
Yeah.
Right? Very sweet moment.
Yeah.
Never forget that.
She says, "For my mother and my father, I want to say thank you for teaching me to have a dream. You are seeing my dream come true."
Oh,
Thank
man.
you.
That is some great stuff. And she appreciated that Oscar.
Yeah, tears
So
and
much.
Tears as
Yeah.
as she did that.
Wow. Noteworthy performance by Louise Fletcher in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. Next up on our list is number 3. So here we are, top 3. We're getting down to the end. In number 3, he pops up again, people. Gary Oldman. Hey.
Here we go.
State of Grace, 1990, an underrated film. There might be a lot of you out there who have not seen this movie. Shame on you. See it tomorrow. Go out, get it, rent it, download it on your device, whatever you have to do.
Buy it.
Watch this movie. It has great acting in it, but hey, the best character in this movie is Gary Oldman. If you want to go ahead and start off this State of Grace Gary Oldman number 3, go right ahead. I mean, I've talked about this movie because I did Gary Oldman episode already. I call it, once again, loosey-goosey acting because Gary Oldman's on another level. He is.
Yeah.
And you talked about at dinner the fact that preparing for the role, he went out and just went full on visiting bars in the New York area in the Irish part of town. He was around Irishmen all the time. And at this point in his life, Gary Oldman was full on alcoholic, drank constantly. So no problem for Gary. He was in his element.
Yes,
okay?
he was.
He might have been drunk on set all the time.
He probably was.
Okay? In character, being drunk, being loose, and giving one hell of a performance. Him and Sean Penn clicked. The cast is great. Ed Harris.
Ed Harris again.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Gary in this one?
It's great. I mean, there's nothing else to say. All of his scenes are fantastic.
Yep.
I have nothing else but that. I know that's weak.
No, but you know what? He's a true artist in every sense. And when you watch a performance like this and you don't know about it and then you see it for the first time, you just believe him. You believe that he's an Irishman and he's just going about doing the film. And he makes just history to me. I mean, we put him number 3. So obviously it means something to us.
For us, it does.
It does. I'm trying to see if I have any other notes here. He learned the lingo and movements of Irishmen. He actually does look greasy and damaged.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought.
He looks so gross.
Yeah, I mean, his character seeped through the pores, I thought, and it showed on the screen. Gave us a great performance for the ages, and that's about all I have. They give priceless moments, and like the hands scene that we talked about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
They have frozen hands in the refrigerator, the freezer, and it's a great scene. Go check out this movie. That's it. I mean, that's all you could say.
Right.
Right?
I agree.
Okay. That was number 3. So number 2?
Number 2, and this shouldn't be too much of a surprise, really.
Right. I think that, going through this list here, people are like, is this 1 or 2?
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah, I would have to agree.
I think most people would put this 1.
Yeah,
I think
they
would,
might.
Yes.
And we're talking about Heath Ledger as Joker in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. I think most people would put it 1. You're not going to be disappointed in our number 1, people.
I would hope not.
No, you're not.
It depends on your age, too.
It
probably.
does. Heath Ledger locked himself away in a hotel room for months. Months. A while.
6 weeks I have.
6 weeks. Almost 2 months. Locked himself away. He combined
By the way, that's fucking insane.
It is.
If I was in my house even for 1 week, I would lose my mind.
Yeah, he locked
That's just
himself
me.
away. He didn't leave the hotel room.
So
That's
that
crazy.
That does something to you. It has to.
He really did go deep here, people. He was that type of actor that allowed himself to do that. Kind of a scary place going that deep. Fellow actors on set were a little intimidated by him, they said. They didn't know if he was dangerous, but they felt that he could go somewhere, maybe go a little too far. Gary Oldman would do the same thing. There are a lot of explosions out of Gary Oldman in his movies. Now, Heath Ledger was dangerous on another level with this character. I found out in my research that there were actors asked to do this role, and they turned it down. A lot of actors turned it down simply because Jack Nicholson nailed it
Yeah.
in the first Batman.
Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill, but Heath Ledger's like, fuck that. Do it.
I remember hearing about how they were bringing the Joker for the next Batman movie back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was announced it was Heath Ledger. And I was like, I think most people were probably like, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Heath Ledger, he's ready for this.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like, and I always liked him.
Oh, me too.
I always thought he was a really good actor. And I was just like, that's an interesting choice.
As an actor, I I was very familiar with all his stuff beforehand. I watched him in his career, and he's a perfect example of an actor learning and growing from his very first stuff, leading all the way up to this.
For sure.
And the cowboy movie, I always forget the name of it.
Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback. Okay. Well, it's hard to say if he was better in this movie than Brokeback. Brokeback was like a starring role. This was a supporting role. Although he's in a lot of this movie.
Yeah, but this is a much deeper role. I would.
Do you think?
This is a fucking crazy role, and
Yeah.
to take on.
Yeah.
To play Joker.
The way he portrayed,
He took it to a level. He took it to a level that I don't think many of us really saw going. Everyone saw Jack Nicholson as Joker.
Yes.
and that's what we've known.
where Jack took it dark but playful.
Yeah, it was
More-
a lot more playful
than dark.
comedic.
Okay, that's a good
in
example.
sense.
Jack Nicholson's Joker was more playful than dark. It was dark, but
yeah,
it was more playful.
for sure.
Heath was more dark, I think, and a little more dark than playful.
Yes,
He was playful.
Yes,
That scene where he had the pencil,
the pencil trick.
that's awesome. I love that scene. He is all over the place in that scene, very focused, and he slams his head on that table, gone. Pencil, gone. And I think there are a lot of people out there who fell in love with Heath Ledger after this movie. They love those superhero movies.
But that's a shame because he died.
After this movie. Shortly
very
after.
well. No, it was very close to the end of the filming of this movie.
It was still filming when he passed?
Yes.
I thought it was after the filming.
It was pretty close to that. It was pretty close.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of people like, well, what's going on then? Is this movie going to be done without him? But they filmed almost all of his scenes.
Wow, okay.
If not all of them. There may have been some things that he wanted to go back and redo, maybe
Yeah.
voiceover or whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was done, but he died right after. But he was so great before this, though.
Well, people took notice of him after Brokeback. I think.
Okay.
They're like, whoa, okay, all right, gotcha. And
See,
then
I loved him in The Patriot.
so that's a small role, but he was good.
wasn't that small.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
a pretty big role.
Yeah, okay, I see it. Yeah, it was a long movie. Yeah, he
It
played
was
the son.
mostly Mel Gibson,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course, but that was a pretty good role. That was definitely supporting. It wasn't the lead.
Now,
role.
Monsters Ball was that?
That
I think that was, of course, before.
Yeah,
Brokeback.
definitely.
I think.
yeah, I would think so.
Small role there. I love that character.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he proved to me that he was amazing. But I also want to point out, as an actor, there are a lot of people that love Heath Ledger. He's beloved, and his passing going the way it did.
Way too soon, man.
So sad how it happened. People, listen, there's no controversy about Heath Ledger. He was a guy who was just restless. He had a hard time sleeping. He was taking medication, pain relievers, and mixing them with sleeping pills. He took too many, and even his sister herself warned him weeks before. Heath,
The night before.
it was at the night before.
I heard even the night before.
You're gonna do something wrong.
Yeah.
You're gonna take too many pills, and you're not gonna wake up.
It's fucking terrible.
And that's what happened. Such a sad tale.
It is.
But
'Cause
I don't know.
there's no saying what he would have done
Yeah.
and been doing now and in the future.
God,
It's sad.
it touched me so much when I did his episode. The way that Daniel Day-Lewis, the way he felt about Heath Ledger, never met him as a man. You would think that they would run into each other from time to time. But it happens. He was deeply affected by his death. Deeply.
Really?
He respected his performances so much. He couldn't wait to meet him. He said he looked like he would just been a great guy to meet and to know more about.
Bitch, man.
So it's a very sad tale. Heath Ledger, number 2 on our list in The Dark Knight, a revolutionary, touching performance, won Best Supporting Actor
As
for this
it
role.
should have.
Well deserved. We're up to number 1, man. We're wrapping it up. Here we are. The countdown is over. And our number 1 guy, Dave, is
Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday in Tombstone in 1993.
no other actor will play Doc Holliday better. No, it doesn't even compare. Dennis Quaid did it.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was
Dennis
good.
Quaid. It was good.
It was good, and I like that movie too.
But Val Kilmer,
Y- y-
eh,
You talk about nailing a role.
I'm
And this
speechless.
is nailing.
I'm actually speechless because I didn't have that much to talk about it. I sat down to write out a few notes. And I put this. Nobody nailed a role better than Kilmer as Doc Holliday. He defined cool. And that is exactly what he was. Fucking cool in this film. He lays on a bed of ice during his death scene. Underneath him, as he's dying, he had a bed of ice underneath him to make it seem more believable.
To make him shiver and to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, make him feel weird.
Yep.
That would definitely be weird.
Yeah.
And he died with his boots off in the film. When he looks down at his feet and he goes, I think he says something like, "Oh my." It's because he said earlier that he wanted to die with his boots on. And I always wondered why he looked down at his feet. He goes, "Oh no."
Well, this is historically accurate. Apparently, is that his last words? Doc Holliday's last words were, "I'll be damned."
That's what it is. I'll be damned because he didn't have his boots on.
Well,
right? Is that not right?
There's theories of why he said that, Doc Holliday.
Okay.
There's theories of like he figured I would die in in a gunfight. I would die in a
Right. That's how he wanted to die.
Yeah,
In a blaze
it's
of glory.
not on a deathbed.
That
like
upset
that.
him. He had
Tuberculosis. Here we go.
tuberculosis.
We're good at talking. So there's theories out there as why Doc Holliday said
Okay.
that, but that is true. Those were his last words.
Val Kilmer is an actor that I don't know. I watch Heat, love his character. I watch The Doors, and am blown away by his Jim Morrison performance.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
people, come on now. And the way he tackled this role, I don't know what he did, where he went, what research he did, but by God, did he just become that guy?
It was simple things of his choice to, when they're walking to the OK Corral,
Yeah.
it was his choice to whistle on the way there. Those little moments, those choices, those are the things that they can't teach you
No.
in a class.
Great point, Dave.
They can't. Those are moments that it's so simple.
Organically coming out of this thing that you create within yourself, with outside sources. They use everything. Mm-hmm. In that moment, he felt like whistling. So he did. A choice an actor makes. And it just enriches the character, enriches the performance. There's a scene where Billy Bob Thornton's character gets slapped around a little bit, and they're all talking in the street, and Billy Bob Thornton is just kind of just standing there after he gets beaten, like, am I okay to go now? And doesn't Val Kilmer go, "Oh, I didn't realize you were still here. You can go now."
Yes.
Just little things like that.
It's pretty much every line that he has so perfectly delivered.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to believe, and it's impressive on the same level of just like to nail every single line that you have
Not
as
easy.
an actor
Not easy.
is really hard to do.
The scene, I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Go ahead.
Talking about scenes. Oh, look, honey. It's Johnny Ringo. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect example of what you're talking about. The delivery. It's just
It's all in the delivery. And they always say it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
It's how you say it.
And,
exactly.
And Val Kilmer is the epitome of that notion
In this role.
in this role.
Yes. Even the way he looks. He looks like he's about to die. Through the whole movie. He's so pale and he looks sick. He really
Yes.
looks sick.
Yes, he does.
It looks like he's on the verge of death. And then he is at one point. And then he reemerges again to help, Kurt Russell and all them go out and shoot up all the cowboys. And he's right back riding on the horse and he's bleeding from the mouth, coughing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's not only the character because he's kind of he's dying. He mentions how in that part at the end where he's helping Wyatt Earp
Yeah.
and Wyatt Earp's troop, so to speak, is just like, why are you helping him anyways? He's like, well, Wyatt's my friend. And like, well, I got a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have a lot of friends.
And it's just, you feel so, like, connected. You're
You're connected to him.
Yeah, you're just like, you get it, you love him.
You just love
You're
that
like,
character.
Man, you're fucking awesome.
You're rooting for this guy. You
Right.
love him. You can't wait to see him again when he comes on
Yeah,
screen.
Exactly.
And
And that's the epitome, and that's really what we're getting at with these best supporting actors. They're
Yeah.
not the leads. They're not the
The meat of it.
right.
Okay.
But and it's that character you're just like, where the hell, when is he coming back on screen? When is she coming back on screen?
Right. That's the whole point. And I'm glad we did this episode, Dave. This was a great idea. This was all Dave's idea. You know, why don't we just do like best supporting actors and talk about them? I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. So that's exactly what we did. We came up with a list and we emailed back and forth to each other. And then we had the hard task of ranking them, which is not easy. And I went ahead and combined our rankings. And this is how we measured up.
Yeah,
as
it's a
far as-
loose ranking.
It's very
I
loose.
think it gets closer. You know, we definitely wanted Val Kilmer as number one.
Yeah.
And Heath Ledger was obviously a close
Second. Yeah.
second.
Yeah,
'Cause
he really was.
And I think that comes down to age almost, because we grew up with Tombstone.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you grew up kind of watching Heath Ledger as Joker, and I get it, he may be a number one for you, or maybe someone else. And that's the thing, and I mentioned this in the previous episode. Let us know who your favorite supporting character. Dude,
Yeah.
we don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we grew up in a different time, and we watched certain movies at a different time, and if there's people that we missed, and I know we did.
Oh yeah, we did.
We were mentioning Sam Rockwell in
Yeah.
Green Mile.
Yeah,
There's a lot. Of
Yeah.
course, that's still in our same
yeah,
age of, watching movies.
yeah. And
But,
good stuff, man. Really good stuff this episode. The two-parter, splitting it up between comedy and drama. And this was the drama section. Some great performances. And this is, like Dave said, a good time to comment. To go ahead and leave
it really
comments.
is. Just
Yeah.
throw out a name. Be like, guys, what about this person?
Yeah, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram. I'm going to go on sometime this week and put it on Instagram, put a little picture up, and go ahead and leave comments. It's very easy to do on Instagram. Do it on Facebook. I have a website. You could do it there as well if you want to go on the
Yeah.
website.
Because there could be a point where we can do like a part 2 of like, hey, we missed all these people. You guys put up enough comments of someone that we missed. We could touch upon all of those.
Yeah, and put a whole episode together.
Yeah.
Why not? Why the hell not?
It needs to be
Okay.
more interactive.
It does need to be more interactive, so go ahead and do that. We'd really appreciate it. It enriches the show. And this show is called The Actors Room. Here I am with my brother Dave, and thank you so much for listening to this episode. Go on the website, theactorsroom.libsyn.com. And also, don't forget this. On the website, I have a donate button. I've only got one donation, $5. It was great. Hey, thank you. Whoever sent that, you're awesome. But we need more donations, Make us feel good about what we're doing, that we're doing a good job. So please do that if you can. Dave, anything else you want to leave as we drift away?
No, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I had a good time going through all these characters and trying to remember all the. That's another thing, trying to remember
Yeah.
all of these characters.
It was
It's kinda
fun
tough,
kind of doing that.
Yeah. And that's where I know we left out a lot. I know tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and be like, holy shit! How
Forgot
did we
about
leave
that person.
out of there. And that's where I'm saying the comments could really help with that.
Yeah.
Refresh our memories.
Go ahead and do that. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. Have a good one. Put that movie in tonight. Put in Tombstone. Watch Val Kilmer act his ass off because that's what he did. So inspirational. I might watch that tomorrow. I might put that in. All right. Thanks again. Have a good one.